Okay, everyone, welcome to the second episode for 2025 of Lawyers Uncharted, previously known as Lawyers with Stories. And today I have local South African talents. Last week we had, 2 weeks ago, we had Catherine Bamford, UK legal technologist. So today we have a South African legal technologist, whom I had the pleasure of making acquaintance last year when I was also exploring legal tech. And of course, I guess you can say we hit it off. And I think that her story is one that can encourage you if you're looking at exploring legal tech, or maybe you sort of need a role model, or maybe you need a push in the right direction. Maybe you want to give up litigation and you're like, what else can I go into? What other is legal tech even like are they even real lawyers? I can say from my experience, my exposure for about a year now is that they are a different species of lawyers. Okay, so it's not what you would think in terms of traditional lawyering, but definitely I would say making things easier for us to do things um,
Yeah.
in practice, in offices, just making everything run on the back end. So I mean, this is also a great career to marry, like your love for computer science, maybe data science. You think, oh, where can I marry that with law? This is a field of law that's very much burgeoning and emerging. That you can marry your love for data and analytics and that type of thing. So I'm very pleased to welcome Naomi Thompson to the podcast, and she's based in South Africa. Just to give a very humorous introduction, she told me that she does the work of five people with two heads. So you can probably imagine what the day in the life is. And I'm very grateful that she's made time for me today. And of course, to you, the audience, the listening audience. So Naomi, you're gonna do the talking. I'll let you take it away. Give us the I guess the modern version, I won't say elevator version, it's too quick, of how you got here, the good, the bad, and the ugly parts of it.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Hi, Lisa. Thank you very much for having me on your platform, Lawyers Uncharted. It is indeed a great privilege. How did I get to where I am today? I'll tell you by chance. I did not think I would be speaking to anyone about how to charter their career or how to find opportunities within legal tech and legal innovation. I have to tell you, the very first time I was approached to join the business, looking at legal technology and legal operation, I had the question like, what's that? I did not want to be a lawyer. I pivoted my career away from law. So I spent quite a bit of years in business, looking at operational efficiencies, looking at business strategy. And I really didn't think that legal technology was for me. Fun fact, I do not know how to code. I do not know computer science. So you don't necessarily have to understand the technical aspects of technology to work in legal tech. But if you've ever been curious, Lisa, around like something can be done better, like why
Mm,
are we taking so long? Why is this so inefficient? If you've ever asked those questions in legal, in your practice, in the way you deliver legal services, then this is potentially an opportunity for you to look at what can we use to do things in a better way.
mm, mm. Yeah, I think I used the example last week with my previous guest about like I need to figure out how to do PowerPoints faster. And she was like that. That's a perfect example of
Yeah.
where to start. Like how can you cut down time? How can you increase your output? And of course, ultimately, your revenue,
Mm,
through more
mm,
efficient processes. And I think maybe I'm a backdoor legal technologist because I'm always like need to thinking, how can I tighten this? How can I tweak that? How can I do this better? So
Yeah.
I mean, if I think if our listeners have that mindset at least,
Yeah.
then it's something that they should be exploring. Even if you could be in a firm where you like,
Yeah.
we just take a bit too long with our document review and pushing out our documents, and you know, you're
Mhm.
always thinking about better ways to do things. And ultimately, it might open up maybe a department at your firm, or you
Yeah.
might be given that responsibility,
Yeah.
or you could be working on like my previous guest also said, she was working on things like in her spare time, where she wasn't necessarily at the department at the firm, but she was like feeling restless about, we're taking too long to do things.
Yeah.
Is there a better way? And then, of course, she was working on her own sort of projects. So if you're that kind of person, I think this career is definitely for you. So now we tell us the, the good, the bad, and the ugly about how you got here. And look, I'd rather preface this by saying we all started in the same place, in the sense that we all
Yes.
went to university, we all got a law degree,
Yes.
maybe one other degree. They told us that we
Yeah.
had to get articles
Yeah.
and that we were all going to be dandy and it was going to be a straight
Mm.
line and we were going to earn lots of money. So give
Mm.
us the real life
Mm.
version of that.
Oh yeah, I bought into the dream. I bought into the dream of, the linear progression, become a senior partner, a managing director
Mm,
in a law firm. We often think that the career trajectory of a lawyer or a legal student is very linear. It is,
mm,
you go up, you become an associate, you get into one of the top five firms, you drive a beautiful sports car, and you go on fantastic holidays. What people do not tell you is, firstly, yes, that like I have the greatest amount of respect for partners,
mm,
for traditional law, for the work that they do, because they put an incredible amount of time in it. But what people do not tell you is you're not going to have a personal life. That's all it's going to be. It is, you going to be working long hours. It's going to be the billable hour. There's so much client demand, and it takes a very long time to get to partner and equity partner. And by that time, most of your friends that have done a
yeah.
BCom or something else is already driving their sports car and the Ferrari. And
Mm,
and like, don't even get me started about entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs. So the dream is incredible, it's amazing, but it doesn't always work out that way in practice. We are competing with every single law student that have graduated. There are probably 4 or 5 thousand graduates per year. There are only a limited number of articles available. So I fell in the category of not having articles when
mm,
I graduated. But I think for me, from a very early age, I always advocated for myself. And for me, it was always, I will find a way, even if a path looks one way and it doesn't open, I'm going to knock on the door. If they don't open, I'm going to go through the window. And one of my philosophies is, there's even a chimney, or you can go through the roof. So, without giving my age away, there wasn't really an online directory for law firms.
yeah.
Send as many letters, got more rejection letters than I care to count. So I started picking up the phone and calling law firms. Hi, I've recently graduated. Can I get through to your HR department? I'm looking for articles. I got through an incredible law firm. They told me, yes, come for an interview tomorrow. I'm sitting in one province and I have an interview in a different province the next day. I got into a bus, traveled overnight, had my suit in my hand, walk into the law firm, and well, Bob's your uncle. I got articles with the most incredible principal. That's not everyone's journey. I have mentees that are that has taken so long to be able to find articles. And I
Mm,
always tell them that finding articles is not the only
yeah.
option. It's not the only thing that will get you to your end result. For example, if we travel from Johannesburg to Pretoria, you can take the M1, you can take the R24. There
Mm,
are many roads, but ultimately it would lead you to what create success for you.
Yeah.
And determining what success looks like for you will be the route that helps you to get to the other side. So, served articles. I immediately knew that practice was not my passion. Practice wasn't for me. I knew I wanted to get into corporate law. And like I told you in the beginning, legal technology found me by accident. It was by chance. I joined a I joined a publisher, which at the time was moving into legal tech. They were busy transitioning from your paper traditional print media into technology. And my job was then to go out to law firms and to sell them, to convert them from those beautiful books. I think that's the reason why I studied law. You know, those law reports that sit behind your desk. I loved it. Anyway, still a lawyer by heart, Lisa, still a lawyer by heart. I had to convince lawyers to convert, and I was in sales. At the time, I failed at it miserably. I was not good at selling. The lawyers wanted to know why we should use this. I couldn't articulate the value proposition well enough. So I bombed out of that role. I failed out of that role. And I was like, I'm going back to my roots, to my core. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be an in-house corporate lawyer. And I joined a financial services business. I spent probably about 10 years between two large companies. One was an investment business, one was an insurance company, really looking at law. But I had those questions. I had the curiosity. I cannot continue drafting the same contract over and over. I cannot keep looking at the same problems. There's got to be better ways. But I wasn't able to articulate what gave me that really like drive to ask these questions. There was no answers out there for me because legal technology was not necessarily mainstream at the time. So I decided I'm going to leave law. I'm going to pivot my career. I joined the chief operating officer as his chief of staff. But Lisa, interesting point I want to make here. Went to him, I looked at the role. I said, I love this role. I'd love to do this. He told me, but I do not want a lawyer in this role. Looking for an accountant. Accountant do that a lawyer can't do besides count. So you can do the counting. You're an accountant. You can do the numbers, everything else for you. And in that role, I managed multiple projects across the business. Legal reported into us, compliance reported. So there was like, there I really learned about finding ways to improve business outcomes, understanding how the business strategy aligns to law. Because what we don't get taught in law school is that legal is a pivotal part of how a business operates. What we do determines how profitable the business is. What we do determine if the doors are going to open tomorrow. So understanding, like I got a real understanding of that. I loved it. I thought, I'm done with law. I'm not coming back to law. I'm becoming a CEO. I'm becoming a COO, anyone in the C-suite. So off I go to do my MBA, which one day I'll tell you that story, because there I had a dream. I didn't know how I was going to make that happen. I self-funded this MBA and off I go and study business because Naomi needs to supplement her law degree with the business degree so that she can become C-suite. I'll come back to South Africa. It wasn't that easy to find opportunities again after being out of the job market. And this is when a legal tech or alternative legal services business approached me. Like, I'm done with law. Give me legal roles. They're like, this is not a pure legal role. Let's talk. I had that conversation and it was love at first sight. I was like, this marries my law degree, my love for asking questions and finding the ways to do things better, plus my business degree. Let's do this. And I never looked back. So this is where I found myself today, having built up. But Lisa, the one thing I constantly did was take chances. I didn't say no to opportunities. Yes, I questioned, and at some point I was afraid to take that leap, right? It's that part of saying yes to something and building up while you're looking for something else. Because, like, as law students, as junior lawyers, what sets you apart? if someone comes and speaks to Lisa and someone comes to speak to Naomi, you need to be able to tell them in 5 seconds what makes you different from the other person. What have you done different? So that's where the curiosity comes in. That is like, okay, legal technology. Never heard of that. What's that? Let me go and do research. Let me upskill myself. Let me ask legal tech providers for a demo. Let me go sit in on what someone is doing. Those are the things that really gives you an in or an opportunity. It's not a special, you're not special. It's not made for someone that have done a fancy computer science degree. It's really just there for someone who's curious about what is next.
Wow, so much there. I think what I want to pick out specifically is, and what I said to someone the other day is, you need to not look at, oh, I need legal experience, I need, different types of experience. Every push of your journey, whether you worked in sales, you worked in HR, you worked in retail. So personally, I think retail is the best experience if you want to become a lawyer because of customer service. You know, I worked in that. So
Yes, totally.
and you want to deal with difficult clients, work in retail. Um, so you sort of look at your whole variety, your whole kind of, it's like a long train, and like every car is like a different job that you have. If you take everything together and you say, hey, I've got a whole bunch of skills. I've got it because I've worked all this while. And now I'm coming into legal. Hey, I'm coming with an advantage. I may not have legal experience. Like I think we hype that up too much. But I've got experience, and none of the opportunities that I've taken, whether I had a job in college, whether I worked my first year, 2003 at ShopRite. I wore the red T-shirt with the yellow smiley faces. It works, okay? And it paid pretty well for the first year. But I mean, all of those experiences, don't marginalize them because it wasn't in a law firm. Okay, you've got to take the opportunity because all of that is building, as you said, towards where you're going to end up. And for me, what I that moment you said is like, yes, say yes to the dress, or say yes to the ring, whatever, right? I love those moments. I call them full circle moments because it's like everything you've done, suddenly you realize you have this like almost like a conception kind of moment. And they say, in conception, incidentally, it's like a flash that happens when that moment happens, right? Biologically. So I love those moments in the career space because it's like you suddenly realize all my experiences are coming together. And this is the sweet spot. I found the job that marries everything together and I'm completely content. And the best part about it is that you never settle in that position. So for me, I'm not settled. I think I found my sweet spot. Who knows? It could refine itself even further in the next couple of years. And then I say, no, 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 this is my sweet spot. So I mean, even where you are, where I am, and more, eminent, successful people, no one has ever fully arrived, but you've got to see everything as building, and what you've done in the background. Nobody was watching. And I always also say this. You have to do things quietly, do things consistently. Like if you're that passionate about it, I used to do that for a long time, do things without remuneration. Like just you want to help people. So you just create content, you sit on the phone mentoring people for free. But it's like all of that it led to what I'm doing now, where it's now like a business. But it's like you've got to, if you're really that passionate about it and you're interested in building yourself and carving yourself out of the sea of that, hundreds of thousands of graduates, then you're going to do those things in the background and you're going to sit and you're going to reflect on your entire journey. That's how one day you're going to find that legal position or that space in the legal profession that may not be the traditional space, but man, it just brings everything together. And it's like this perfect And whatever multiplies from there, cell division, getting all biological now, you know, it just divides and something grows and something evolves like a baby in the womb,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And then you don't know where
Yes.
it's going to end up.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. I agree 100% with you, Lisa. And I like what you say that you were giving, you were just doing. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't go and expect or ask for remuneration, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's is and something I want to touch on is as professionals, one of your biggest success factors is being able to build your networks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to have people that you can tap into, that you can pick up the phone to and say, can you help me? I'm having this very challenging contract that I have to draft right now. I don't have a precedent for it. Do
Yeah.
you maybe have one? But unless you've spent time investing in it, you're not going to be able to withdraw from that bank account. You may be volunteering today. So you see, oh, excellent. What does Naomi do? Legal consulting, legal tech consulting, legal project management. Naomi, I'm busy looking for articles, but I'd like to learn how to do legal project management. So I'm willing to give you 3 months virtually where I'd like to intern with
Mm-hmm.
you, where I'd like to volunteer my time.
Yeah.
What you get from that is being able to put that on a CV, learning from what Naomi was doing, being able to understand. So that gives you a skill that no one else has that you can put on your CV. That is also sown into Naomi's life. Tomorrow, you see, oh, Naomi's connected to Lisa. Lisa has an opportunity at her law firm. Let me apply for it. Call Naomi and say, Naomi, would you give me a glowing recommendation that I can send to Lisa so that Lisa knows I'm credible and I've done
Mm-hmm.
that? So I think that is something that is free, that young professionals or graduates take for granted that they have the
Yeah.
power of your network. Person that you're sitting with in class right now, yes, they are your competitor. Yes, we're going to compete who comes first, who's got
Mm-hmm.
the most A's, but they are also the people that you're going to find in practice tomorrow. They are either going to be your clients, they're going to be your friends, they are going to be the people that you need to tap into as you grow your career. 10 years down the line, you want to still remember who sat next to you in criminal law or who did you compete with in private law. Build those networks now. Do
Yeah.
not take that for granted.
No, for sure, for sure. And I mean, I only teach from what I practice. So when it comes to networking, I mean, it's just you've just got to be. For me, the key is to be selfless. And I think Gen Z and maybe I think Gen Alpha is the one that's in front of that. I'm so clueless to these things. Um, it's just give me, give me, give me, give me. So I'm connecting with Naomi because Naomi knows Lisa and I want that connection. I'm in it for myself. Okay. I just want to, it's a stepping stone. I want to climb on, stand on Naomi's head to get to Lisa. And then when I've pillaged from Lisa, I just want her to give me a connection to get to somebody else. That tends to be the
Mm,
mindset. And what has worked for me
mm,
is selfless networking. So you literally, and because I'm an entrepreneur, I want to help other businesses naturally, small businesses, or
mm,
medium-sized
mm,
businesses. So I'll say I decided last year. I said I have a few connections that I want to take it to the next level. So what I did was I chose to have Instagram lives with them, and I don't know anything about Instagram. I had to learn. Um,
mm,
and it was nothing in it for myself. It was literally them showcasing their brand, what they do, and talking about what they do on the daily. So we would have topics
mm,
around their kind of occupation. Like a colleague is into, having a virtual assistant agency. So she knows all about the soft skills that law students need, right? Because she employs primarily law students. And so we had a whole
yeah.
series with her just talking about soft skills. And then I had another one with another colleague, we're talking about conveyancing. I know nothing about conveyancing, but it was literally to showcase her business and to let people hear on my platform what she has to say and her knowledge. And I mean, I can't say every opportunity has paid off, or I didn't even look for a payoff. In fact, the payoffs come incidentally. But it's just wanting to just showcase that person. Even with the podcast, I tell people you can take the videos, you can chop it up, you can use it and put it on your profile. It's yours. It's your showcase. It's not even my episode, copyrighted, lawyers Uncharted 2025, nothing like that. It's for you to take and, So I feel doing little acts, little gestures like that with people who you feel will be receptive. Not everybody would want to do something like that. But
Of
like
course.
just taking it to the next level where all you want for the other person, like you said, something like use that example about somebody coming to like volunteer with you. If they pitch it in such a way that Naomi, it's all about adding value to what you are doing. I want to make your work easier. Okay. And they're not emphasizing, I need the experience, I need because I'm gonna get articles and I want somebody to put on my CV. They say, no, I want to add value. So even though I'm using you as or you are my network partner and you have this opportunity for me, I'm not even coming into it for myself. I'm coming into it because I want to add value to you. I want to boost what you are doing, right? And that I think that's selflessness, at least from a personal perspective, has
Correct.
it has reaped benefits, and where it hasn't, it's okay because I didn't do it because of that. Sometimes you just give somebody a platform, you give them a place to speak, and you never know where that little opportunity can take them. And then it's just I don't even have to hear about it.
Yeah.
You know, they may acknowledge it, they may not acknowledge it, but I know like I've just done something for the good of a fellow, up and coming aspiring lawyer. So I think the networking thing has to be done very selflessly.
Yeah.
It's not.
It has to be, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's paying it forward, right? And it's the intention in which you're doing it. You don't go do something because you want something back or you ask for something back, but you understand the value that's in it. You understand that this is an investment account. And just because I've helped Lisa's not necessarily going to help me, but you've invested into your future and you never know where it's going to pay you back or how it's going to pay back for someone else. That value may even be for someone else that you're doing it, but 100% it's about the intention in which you are doing it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the mindset shifts that the younger set of graduates have to because I mean LinkedIn, in my opinion, is severely underutilized in that regard. And people are not willing to build relationships. Even when I say you go to a networking event, don't go and shove your CV into somebody's face.
No, that's the
look,
biggest turnoff.
It's the biggest turnoff. Like I have to tell them from the front. Like I will not. Even people that don't even have an online relationship with me, you can't send me your CV and expect me to refer you to Naomi. I don't know you. I can't vouch for you. You're certainly not going to use my name to get into any place like that. So it's also about just have a good relationship with certain people. You go to a networking event, you just ingratiate yourself without being cringe. You just be a good, be a polite person. Yeah, sure. Take your CVs, take whatever business cards, take your calling card or whatever. As long as it's not the joker. Just take your stuff, have your stuff on hand, but you're not going there to inundate people and basically to use them to get ahead. I mean, that's what our the legal profession is known for, the dog eat dog. And I think the younger generation has gotten used to that. Like you gotta build relationships, and out of those relationships, will come opportunities. And of course, the ultimate intention must be just to, if you are not getting opportunities, they say, clap for other people. If you're not getting opportunities, you start a business or you just give somebody an opportunity on your side. Nothing is working out for you. So your business is not taking
Correct.
off. Maybe you got a side hustle as a student. Say you employ other students. Like you're not getting articles, maybe you got a spaza shop and you're like, is this what I studied for? You start to feel sorry for yourself. Nothing is working out for you, but you're giving other students an opportunity to earn money while they're at university, maybe they're unemployed graduates. Do that. Do something that has zero benefit for you, but you're still adding value to somebody's experience. You are making sure they are earning a living, or at least an allowance. So it's also doing it in those down times when your applications are being rejected. Turn the tide and try and create an opportunity in your space for someone else to, benefit. So I think that's also that just paying it forward and giving back. And of course, I guess ultimately you're sowing seeds for the future. And I've seen things come back, like mind-blowingly, big stuff. Like, how did I get here? Like, who would have thunk it kind of moment. But I mean, and those things will happen on its own. They'll happen organically, but you just put yourself.
It will happen organically.
Yeah. Yeah. You just have to have relationships in the field. You have to have relationships.
You touch on something. Yeah. Sorry. I was saying you touch on something so important, Lisa, about relationships, right? Relationships are important at the beginning of our career, in the middle of our career, and at the end of our career. So I don't know if you've heard about the concept of the delta-shaped lawyer. And what we do not get taught in law school is that in law school, we get taught the theory of law, so our fundamentals, understanding, and also there's still a lot more to learn when you get into practice. It's kind of law school helps us teach how to think. But that is developing the muscle to have theoretical understanding of the practice of law. So how you can then go out and just be a lawyer, how you just practice law. To be a successful lawyer, whether you are going into any of the myriad of fields that's available in law. So practice law, in-house law, legal technologist, legal project manager. There are so many of them. But what you're going to need is to be an holistic person. So the Delta lawyer, Scott, it's the triangle. So right at the bottom, your foundation. It's housekeeping. You cannot be a lawyer without that training skills, without that set, right? Then you need to understand and know how to build relationships, how to network. You need to understand business skills because you have to understand profitability. What's the profitability model that drives your practice, that drives your salary that you bring in, because you need to bring in a salary to that law firm, right? You need to have a billable hour. But if you don't know how to build relationships, you're not going to know how to sell. You're not going to know how to grow your practice and then become the partner that you need to be. If you're in-house, you're not going to understand how my role is adding to the bigger value of the organization, and you're not going to grow in your career. So you need to have that part of it. Then the side is the skill set that you need to have. So being able to understand how to do law better. So that's where legal project management comes in. That's knowing you don't need to be a data scientist to understand that there are data in what you're doing, to understand how to do that better. So having that holistic view. Law school is not going to give it to you. Law school is there to train you to be a lawyer. How are we going to find other ways to build the skill set? LinkedIn has got free courses. Corsia has got it. Naomi runs a course. Lisa runs a course. They are like, Google is there. AI is there. There is so much, but unless we do it, and then if we add add those extra skills to our suite of what we have to offer, you build your own value proposition. You start then differentiating
Yeah.
yourself from everyone else. So you go to a law firm and you go, I've been curious about this. So I went to my law faculty and I helped them to start digitizing some of the cases that we were working on. Or I helped my professor because I started realizing he needed help in XYZ. So we have to find stuff that you cannot just go to varsity, learn what is taught, walk out of there, or go to work every day in and day out and just be a CA or an associate. God has given all of us 24 hours.
Yeah.
You work X amount of hours or you go to varsity X amount of hours. What are you doing with the other hours that you've received? I always used to say when I came back from my MBA, which is not good advice, they who needs sleep? 4 hours of sleep, you can do it. You build your business, you build your dream. And yes, there's a time that you probably push a lot more hours, but 1 hour every single day to work on a skill set that you are not taught at varsity, that you are not being forced to do. Can you imagine what that will do for your career and what that will do for our future? And that's kind of like some of the ways that I've charted my career. I didn't always go and wait for someone to tell me, Naomi, here's a course that you can do. I'm going to send you here. But curious, and I said, see what's that? Let me do it. Still fail. It's okay to fail too, Lisa. Like I failed in my first career in legal tech, right? Didn't think I'll like years later I'll come back and call myself a legal tech expert because I failed out. But every failure is a stepping stone to something greater, to something bigger. We learn more from the things that we fail than from the things that we are successful at. Think about it. If you have to talk about your biggest lesson, you go, oh my gosh, you know what I learned from that? So that is, and it's being self, take those chances, opening yourself to say, let me try this. It's the worst that can happen.
Yeah. I mean, I always applaud when I see certain posts on LinkedIn. Like I saw one this past weekend, and I mean, I'm not generally a weekend LinkedIn person, especially on a Sunday, which is my day off. But this person attended, I saw him, I did a training, a mediation training with the Maldives Youth Court Society on Friday, last Friday. And I saw this local name there in the Zoom audience. I was like, hey, that's nice. And then the same student, I think he's a student, he did a post about it. And in the post, he's talking about all the development he's been doing. He's attended this, he's participated in that. And of course, my thing was one of the trainings he attended. And I went and I commented and I said, hey, keep it up. That's the superpower to have. You want to talk about a meta skill set is to just want to learn. You must have the desire to learn, and then that will help you to build your skill set. So hopefully it becomes more popular. But there's definitely that thing about gimme, 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 even in the development part, where it's like, do you have this for me, or do you have notes for me, or do you have recordings for me? Okay, give me, give me, give me. I'm not willing to go and curate those experiences for myself. So I think a good place to land the thing would be, I think, ultimately to take that leaf out of your story, which is to curate your experience. You know, take the chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prepare yourself for failure, and that's another thing that law students don't do. They get a rude awakening. They get stopped in their tracks when they fail at something. It's okay to fail, right? Be prepared for failure, but never stop learning. Never wait for the opportunities to come to you, because in this day and age, nobody is giving you things on a copper platter, never mind a silver platter. They're not giving. No one's giving you things. Whatever you've achieved, whatever I've achieved, we've put ourselves out there. We've done things behind the scenes. We were thankless, unpaid, right? Selflessly doing things because we loved it. And then there comes a time when you get that sort of recognition and you start growing. But you've got to be able to put that in behind the scene. Nobody becomes partner overnight. Nobody only starts owning a law firm overnight. Nobody becomes even a good business person, entrepreneur overnight. It's also taking the losses, taking the hits, and that's what makes everybody's journey colorful. And that's what makes it worth maybe not emulating it because I don't believe there's a formula for one formula for maybe law students to follow. But you look at it and you say, wow, like you know, I can do that at least. I can go and look for free courses. I can not while away my time as a graduate and just apply for articles. I can find other things. I can find meaning. So I think ultimately what I end up doing is putting the ball back into the court when it comes to graduate law students. The earlier you start doing this, the earlier you develop like this, the earlier you have this attitude that you have to own your journey, the better. And so when you get out there into the field, you're not going to hit a brick wall and say, Lisa, all my friends are getting articles. Why am I not getting articles? Is something the matter with me? You won't ask that question because you would have started much earlier with the attitude that this is my journey. I have to find opportunities. I have to curate my learning experiences. I have to take account of the skill set that I need, where I'm deficient, what I can do to build that. It's all in your thoughts at the end of the day. So I think that's a huge, maybe it's a bit of a forest that we can take out of your story. Is that you've got to put yourself out there. You are going to hit walls. You are going to face closed doors. That's life. Okay, none of us run through life. All the doors are open, and it's just a smooth sprint through to success. So you have that realistic, expectation that not everything is going to work out, but you've got to make the moves. You've got to want to learn. You've got to want to take those opportunities. And like Naomi was saying, and I've had other guests, where it was just being assigned to a specific file in the office that just opened up, you know, what they're doing now and what they're not doing now. So I think that's a good sort of ending to this episode. Very somber, but I think it's one lesson that I can't hammer home often enough. With all the people that I deal with, and I'm sure you deal with as well. Guys, if you want to follow, you can. Naomi is quite active on LinkedIn, so please connect with her there. Naomi Thompson. And of course, you can see all the other stuff that she gets up to in the legal tech space, speaking at conferences and her, I think, academy or learning institution that she offers courses at. So be curious, like she was saying, but check her out. And if you are interested at all in this field, or maybe in just a random point that you might have mentioned, and you want to speak a bit more about it, Naomi is very open to chatting. Mentoring is what she does. She teaches as well. So you have a good approachable person in her. So thank you very much, Naomi. I really appreciate the time today.
I absolutely loved it, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me. And I wish your followers, your viewers, and everyone that watched this podcast absolutely everything of the best. Success is up to us. Success is up to you. Everyone's journey looks different. Everyone's measure of success looks different.
Yeah.
So do not compare yourself to anyone else. You're going to fail. It's part of life. We all do it. Every single successful person have, but give yourself the permission to take those opportunities and see where it leads you. Wish you guys all the best.
Thanks, Naomi.